गिरीश जी नमस्कार। एक बार फिर आपका चैनल पे स्वागत है और आज बात करेंगे एक बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक के बारे में। ये टॉपिक नॉर्मली लोगों को समझ नहीं आता बिकॉज थोड़ा सा साइंटिफिक हो जाता है। सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स के बारे में। फॉक्सकॉन एक कंपनी है और उनका वेदांता से कोलैबोरेशन होने जा रहा था इंडिया में सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स बनाने के लिए। इंडिया इस रेस में पीछे है और ये जो प्रेजेंट गवर्नमेंट है वो ये चाह रही थी कि ये डील किसी तरीके से थ्रू हो, इंडिया में सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स बनने की कैपेबिलिटी डेवलप हो, कम से कम इकोसिस्टम तो शुरू हो। तो मैं आपसे इस इंडस्ट्री के बारे में, इस कोलैबोरेशन के बारे में और कुछ बेसिक्स जो दर्शकों को जिसकी जरूरत है पूरी गेम प्लान को समझने के लिए, क्योंकि मेरा अंदाजा ये है कि अगर इंडिया को सुपर पावर बनना है तो उसको सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स में ग्लोबली कॉम्पिटिटिव होना पड़ेगा उसकी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में। और अभी ऐसा मुझे लग रहा है, जो मैंने पढ़ा है, कि कम से कम 10 या 12 जनरेशन इंडिया पीछे है ग्लोबल लेवल से। तो ओवर टू यू, ऑल योर्स गिरीश जी।
Thank you, Pranav sir.
थैंक यू।
What you are telling is very correct. Foxconn Vedanta is in news for wrong reason. Earlier, it was in reason for a good reason that they are coming out with a plant in Gujarat. Now, 2-3 days back, there was news that they are breaking up their joint venture, and it is not proceeding further in the joint venture project, which they were supposed to install at Gujarat for fabrication of the this chips. Now, before going into slightly detail of that, we'll have to touch up briefly what is, because many of our viewers may not be knowing what is this terms. Again and again we'll be using chips, semiconductor, and other thing. So it will be good if we can understand. It's like a semiconductor chips, or it is a technically it is called a tiny wafer of semiconducting material with embedded electronic circuit is called chips or computer processor, which we call it, which is having thousands and millions of electronics component, which we call it transistor diodes and things, which is part of a one chips alone. Now, if you remember, long time back, we were having a big size TV, because there we were using cathode ray tube, CRT, that is called. Nowadays, those things has in the past, probably people in 40s might have not seen them. And nowadays we are seeing the flat TV, which is earlier they may be called LCD. Now the LED is there. So they all are the changes which has happened in the electronic circuitry and semiconductor. Now, semiconductor is again a little bit of technical thing, which means which is neither conductor nor resistor. Now, conductor and resistor is again, in a very simple words, I will say, conductor is the item, a material, a substance which allow current to flow, electricity to flow is called conductor, and
Okay.
which does not allow is called resistance, which resists that flow of current. Semiconductor is in between, which in certain condition allow current to flow, circuit to flow, or data to flow, and in other circumstances does not allow. So that is the specialty of a semiconductor. That's why it is neither conductor nor resistor, it is in between. And now, which are the material which is having these properties are silicon, gallium, and other compound which are normally being used. And that's the reason in US the semiconductor world and that Silicon Valley is being used, and even in India also, wherever electronics and digital things which are going up is called silicon. So Silicon Valley is arrived from the word silicon, which is being used in a semiconductor.
Okay.
Now, let's come to the points which you have already raised, and it is very, very correct that we are lagging far, far behind from the top companies. So we have to understand which are the top 10 manufacturers of the chips. I will share with you and that list of
Okay.
the top companies, and that is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, Intel, and many other companies, Micron, Nvidia, and other, which are making the top high class these chips. And in India also companies are making, but they are not in that range, means not the latest one. They are lagging behind, like Tata Elxsi and other things are also making chips, but they are far, far behind as far as high-end technology is concerned.
Okay. Okay.
These are the latest situation. Now, to understand what is the impact of this, almost every industry is using chips. Now you will be surprised, manufacturing and delivery of automobile industry is getting affected if chips are not being supplied. And during COVID, people felt it badly because the major supplier or worldwide, because of the this restriction during COVID, the chips which were coming from China and Taiwan, that was restricted, and worldwide everyone felt that, oh, it's a problem. If everything manufacturing facilities at one place, it will impact the entire world for one region or other. So that's the reason world is looking of China plus one is the reason that there should be an alternate to China where all manufacturing activities should not be come to standstill if there is something goes wrong with China for one region or other. Now I'll give you another factor. India is using, of course, in their products this chips, but it is estimated by 2026 our requirement for chips will be something around 80 billion US dollar, and which will go to 100 plus billion-dollar by 2030. So we are talking in the near future. The requirement of this particular item alone is such a huge number. So government of India was looking out how to go for it, and made in India and what we call it Atmanirbharta. That was the reason a government was going out with many productive link incentive, PLI, which we call it, for in the various fields which automobiles and other areas are concerned. And chips was considered one of the topmost priority in that. And 21, somewhere in November, government of India come out with the Indian Semiconductor Mission, which we call it ISM, where government was allowing, say, for a certain type of semiconductors, for 30% of the project capital cost as an incentive, where the government was ready to participate in projects. And later on, they have received, I think, around 30 plus proposal. But as per the news available, most of the proposal were not cleared on technical commercial merit. So hardly few were put up for final approval, and Vedanta Foxconn was one of them, which was clear, and government was ready to move in and ask for a detail in that. Now let's slightly discuss what is Foxconn, because it is coming again and let's understand Foxconn is one of the biggest outsourced manufacturer of the electronics products. Now, whether it is iPhone, whether it is Nokia, whether it is Nintendo games or BlackBerry, so top and phones models and these kind of products are being assembled by Foxconn, mainly in Taiwan and in China, though they are having a factory worldwide. But these are the two major area, Taiwan and China, where they are manufacturing for Apple and, as I said, Nokia and BlackBerry and other products. So Indian government, because they are one of the biggest market for the phone and other thing, they encourage all this manufacturer or the license holder to start looking for India as an assembling and manufacturing unit. So there, this thing has come up, and Apple had started assembling plant and their phone in India, and this was resulting into a very good outcome, and billions of dollars of phones are being exported from Apple as well as from the Samsung. And let's understand, Samsung is also one of the major chip manufacturer, and Apple is also designing their own chips which they are using it in their phone, but it is manufactured by TSMC, that is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. They are their biggest manufacturer of these chips. Let's say A15 is one of their chips which they are using it in their phone, which is first launched in iPhone 13 and even in the iPhone 15, which is one of the smallest. We call it nanometer, and a small form, which nano means nanometer. If we call it, it is understand 1/1000th of a meter, Means how small it is, this is we are talking. And in that size, they are putting millions and billions of transistors and other components. So make it highly powerful processing and cost effective, and we can say power efficient. So this
Okay.
is the impact of these chips. Now, why I like slightly touch up what went wrong with India and with the Foxconn and Vedanta.
Vedanta. Okay.
So one of the reason which is coming in the news is financial situation of the Vedanta, because Vedanta is into many areas, oil industries as well as the mining and many other industries. So there was after 22 there were some financial constraint, and which were further complicated by increase in rates by the Fed in US dollar and other things. So many companies who have taken a loan or bonds and at higher rate, those rates are hurting all these industries. So probably one of the reason is a final constraint. They were looking out for some of the strategic sale in their zinc business and copper and other thing, but for one region or other, it could not be materialized. So there are some financial constraint problems are going on. However, let's be very clear, Vedanta has not made any default in any manner so far, but it is just what was appearing in the newspaper.
Okay.
Now, this is one of the possible people considering that could be a reason. Second thing is they were not able to identify and reach to a conclusion on the designer of the chips. Because
Okay.
as I said, Foxconn is not the designer and the manufacturer, they are the assembler. So they were having the technical capability of making, assembling another thing, ecosystem is there, but they are not the manufacturer of the chips. So they have to take one of the top 10 or 15 chips manufacturer, which are basically coming from US, Japan, South Korea, and Holland. They are the world leader in that.
Okay.
And we have to identify some of them and work on it. Second thing, in 22 and Government of India has also revised their ISM policy, which we discussed, India Semiconductor Mission. It is
Okay.
basically to encourage more and more participation, because the initial response was not good. And as you said, India is already behind 10 to 15 years with respect to other developed countries. So in order to move further, and they were looking into introspection, is there anything further which they can do it? So they have now increased this participation uh, up to 50% on equal footing basis. Means
Okay.
the project cost up to 50% can be given by the Government of India as a 50% on equal footing basis, and
Okay.
they can choose states of their choice.
Okay.
So this is one of the reason. Second thing, there was some news which says that initially Government of India was looking at from 28 to 65 nm size of chips. As I
Okay.
said, Word is working on 7 to 10 nm. But anyway, because we are lacking, and so we have to start that system. So 28 to 65. But now Government of India has removed that restriction also. So there is no something like 28 or lower and other things. So a person can come up, and if they find technically its use and commercial viability of the projects, government is seriously working on it. So this is one reason. So probably these 2, 3 reasons: financial constraint, not able to identify the technical partner to who can give the chip design, and increase in the incentive. Probably these two companies has parted away. Now, there is also news that both Vedanta as well as Foxconn are submitting application again separately.
Separately.
Means Foxconn will come out and submit an revised application to Government of India with other partner. And there is some unconfirmed news that Government of Gujarat is considering seriously to be their partner,
Okay.
to join them in uh, this fabrication manufacturing of the chips. Similarly, Vedanta Group is also looking out for a technical partner and fabrication thing, so which will be submitted. In addition to that, if some other companies are coming. But let me just give you one latest news. When Mr. Modi was in US, Government of India had signed an MOU with Micron, which is top 5 chip manufacturing company like Intel
Okay.
and Nvidia and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC. So that is number top five. Micron is considered to be the world top five, and they have signed. So they will be coming now. Which will be their partner? Where they will be coming? These are very early stage because it has signed just less than a month back, and hopefully something good will come up, and we may catch up part of the lagging which we had in the past, and hopefully in the next couple of years we'll have this system. So quite a good amount of import bills can be curtailed by manufacturing these chips in India.
ओके, अब इसमें जो ट्विटर पे जब मैं देख रहा था तो उसमें सबसे पहला जो क्वेश्चन है वो ये आता है कि जो पीएलआई है, यू नो, आपको पता ही है ये पॉलिटिकल तो हो ही जाती है इंडिया में हर एक चीज। तो ऑपोजिशन वालों ने या वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट ने ये कहना शुरू किया कि ये जो पीएलआई स्कीम है इस सेक्टर में लेके आ रहे हैं, इसकी कोई खास जरूरत थी नहीं जब अभी तक काम चल रहा था इंपोर्ट करके, तो आगे भी ऐसी क्या प्रॉब्लम थी। तो उसमें जहां तक मेरे आइडिया की बात है उसमें मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि बगैर सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स के इंडिया में बनाए बगैर हमारे लिए ये पॉसिबल नहीं है कि हम एडवांस्ड वेपन सिस्टम में या नेविगेशन सिस्टम में या स्पेस एप्लीकेशन में, जो टॉप साइंटिफिक एप्लीकेशंस होते हैं वहां पे हम आगे जा सकें। तो इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने इसीलिए ये डिसाइड किया कि किसी न किसी तरीके से ये जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पार्ट है ये इंडिया में जरूर होना चाहिए और सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी होनी चाहिए, जिससे हम अपने स्ट्रेटेजिक ऑब्जेक्टिव बीइंग, कभी ग्लोबल पावर बने, सेल्फ सफिशिएंट बने, आत्मनिर्भर बने, उसके बगैर वो अचीव नहीं हो सकते थे। तो आपका क्या कहना है इस बारे में?
So you have very correctly identified the things. When it comes to the security and safety aspect, these are the two things where the cost is secondary. I mean, any country or any institute or any even household, when it comes to the security and safety, the cost is coming the second step. Cost is not always the first criteria for doing or not doing it. So in terms of security, we have seen many times, in spite of many hurdles, many restrictions, and every government, they work very hard to see that their security should not be tempered or any way affected because of supply from any outsource. So this is one of the major area where we are lacking. So this is in the right direction to have it, apart from commercial aspect, which as such I said ki $80 billion, which is going to be $100 billion in next by 2030. So apart from commercial, security is one of the major reasons. I'll just give one example of this security aspect. We are, one of the major, third largest, we can call it ourselves after China, US, and Russia. India is one of the major military power and other thing. But still, with so many Indian manufacturing of item, this and that, we are still lacking. One of the crucial component was the air engine turbines. Though we are making Tejas and others, but we are not having our own turbines. In spite of using these turbines since ages, I have used in our installation turbines, but so far the technology is never been shared with India. So one of the major achievement in the last visit to US was the transfer of technology. I will not say 100%, but 80% plus from GE for the assembling and manufacturing of turbine for Indian air crafts, which is for defense use. So as you rightly said, there are certain decision which we'll have to take, not purely on the merit of commerce, but security also. And if it serves the commercial purpose also, nothing like it. So chips is that dual technology which is serving security as well as commercial aspect.
हाँ, मैंने शायद आपसे पिछली बार जिक्र किया था उसका चिप वार या चिप वार फेयर, एक किताब है जिसके ऊपर मैंने एक वीडियो भी बनाया था, और उसमें उन्होंने बड़ी डिटेल में टीएसएमसी के बारे में लिखा हुआ था, ताइवान सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कॉरपोरेशन एक्चुअली, जो ऑफ कोर्स ताइवान
Correct.
की है, जो एडवांस्ड चिप्स बनती हैं, ऑलमोस्ट मेरे ख्याल से एडवांस चिप टॉप ग्रेड की। डिजाइनिंग तो ऑफ कोर्स यूएस वाले ही करते हैं, उसमें मेरे ख्याल से उनकी 80 to 85% उनकी मोनोपोली है, और चाइना को कई बार वो इंतजार कराते हैं। चाइना भी उनको चाइना ऑलवेज ट्राई टू प्लेस ऑर्डर विद देम, और अभी मेरे ख्याल से उन्होंने उसके ऊपर रेस्ट्रिक्शंस डाले हुए हैं। तो मैं आपसे एक स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट जानना चाहूंगा। एक तो ऑफ कोर्स टीएसएमसी का जो मैंने बनाया था वीडियो, वो तो इस बेसिस पे था कि टीएसएमसी की वजह से क्या चाइना ताइवान पे अटैक करने में सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो पाएगा। बेसिकली वो उसका एक इंश्योरेंस सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग है, क्योंकि अगर उसके ऊपर अटैक करेगा तो मिलेगा कुछ नहीं उसको। दे आर गोइंग टू डिस्ट्रॉय दैट कंपनी। चाइना के हत्थे वो नहीं चढ़ने वाले, और जब तक उस लेवल की चिप्स चाइना की सेल्फ सफिशिएंसी नहीं हो जाती, चाइना सुपर पावर बन भी नहीं सकता। ये भी एक असेसमेंट है। तो मैं आपसे जानना चाह रहा था कि एक बड़ा अभी जैसे रशिया यूक्रेन का वॉर चल रहा है, तो इसमें कहते हैं कि जो प्रिसीजन गाइडेड म्यूनिशंस जो यूज होते हैं, उसमें बड़ी टॉप ग्रेड की चिप्स यूज होती हैं, और अगर वो चिप्स ना यूज हो तो प्रिसीजन ही चला जाता है। दैट इज व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज द सेइंग इन मिलिट्री सर्कल्स। तो कई बार लोग ये बात कर रहे हैं कि रशिया के पास उन प्रिसीजन गाइडेड म्यूनिशंस की शॉर्टेज हो रखी है, बिकॉज ये जो एडवांस्ड चिप्स टीएसएमसी बनाती है, उसने सप्लाई करना तो बंद कर ही दिया, और रशिया को कहीं और से वो मिल भी नहीं रही। ये सिचुएशन है एज ऑन नाउ। तो आपका क्या ख्याल है कि इंडिया को कितना टाइम लगेगा अगर कैचअप करने में? इसके बगैर बात नहीं बन सकती। और दूसरा एक पॉइंट और मैं आपसे क्लियर करना चाह रहा था। बाइडेन ने चाइना के ऊपर रेस्ट्रिक्शंस डाले हैं। वो एग्जैक्टली व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज दैट पॉइंट के जहां पे उन्होंने अमेरिकन जो प्रोफेशनल्स वहां पे काम कर रहे थे, देवर बेसिकली चाइनीज अमेरिकन प्रोफेशनल्स जो चाइना के अंदर काम कर रहे थे इस इंडस्ट्री में, बाइडेन ने उनको ऑप्शन दिया या तो वापस आ जाओ या फिर तुम पूरे चाइना में रह जाओ। तो उनमें से मैंने सुना है कि 95 to 98% वापस अमेरिका चले गए। तो बेसिक जो पर्पज था बाइडेन का कि चाइना जो है वो एडवांस सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स ना बना पाए, ये इतना क्रूशियल है। तो आपका एक कमेंट चाहूंगा मैं इस पे।
See, you're right that Taiwan Semiconductor जो है, this is one of the largest manufacturer of the high-end chips. And up to last year, they were almost holding 90% manufacturing of the top end, those chips, which is basically, as I said, the example was Apple and many other top end companies, which is their chips were manufactured by Taiwan Semiconductor. But you will be surprised now. TSMC is not the number one chips manufacturing company. It is NVIDIA is number one.
एनवीडिया इज
Now,
नंबर
it is the company after Apple and other company, which is the $1 trillion market capitalization.
ओके।
It's only chip manufacturing company. It is not having their product. It's chips which is being used in graphic GPU, which we call it, and in the artificial intelligence. So their
ओ
processing power is far, far more than other which we are using. And that's the reason that company has overtaken Intel, AMD, TSMC, and other company has become number one chip manufacturing company in the world because
ओके।
of its high-end processor which they are making. And it is first chip manufacturing company having $1 trillion market cap. I'm not talking of $1 trillion business, but market cap. So you
ओके।
can understand how quickly the things change. Okay.
हम्म।
Now, this is also that these chips which they are making is being used for artificial intelligence as well as for high-end products, which can be used for dual technology, which we call it in the terms of commercial as well as the military use.
ओके।
So US has restricted many of the top-end products of Taiwan, TSMC, as well as NVIDIA and Intel, which they cannot export to any other company or country until unless it is cleared by the US administration. So
ओके।
this is the practice since long. But we also have to understand China is having a chip manufacturing capability and they are making. So it is not something which they do not have any technology. Of course, they are not as ahead like US and Denmark, Netherlands, but at the same time, they are not far behind. They are making, but may not be a 5 nm, but they are in the range of 28 and 40 nm,
ओके
which we.
ओके
So let's not underestimate, but at the same time, they are not at par with the US. But India is far behind. I said we are nowhere near in that top 5 countries which are making. So India is needing it. Other point, which after restriction by US, China has also restricted supply of this material, which is used for manufacturing of these chips, which they are having a monopoly. So it is tit for tat. It is not coming. So that is the reason everybody is looking for China plus for one reason or other. This is one of the reason. One is due to genuine reason like COVID or some natural calamities or thing, you are not able to supply material. But if something is a technical decision or government of that country decide not to supply, then how will you survive? So this is one of the reason where chip is now felt by all companies, whether it is BMW, whether it is Mercedes, whether it is Maruti or Tata. They are not able, all other things were ready, but they were not have sufficient quantity of chips to roll out their vehicle. And similarly for other product also.
अच्छा ओके। तो आपको क्या लगता है इंडिया को, मैंने सुना है कि ठीक है कि आप मैन्युफैक्चरिंग शुरू कर दो, ये सब कर दो, वो सब तो हो जाता है, मगर एक प्रॉपर इकोसिस्टम डेवलप करने में बहुत टाइम भी लगता है, हाई एंड टेक्नोलॉजी और इकोसिस्टम डेवलप करने में फिर ऑब्वियसली पॉलिसी डिसीजंस भी आते हैं। तो आपका क्या ख्याल है, ये गवर्नमेंट करा लेगी इसको? क्योंकि अभी तक हम करा नहीं पाए, पास्ट में भी हमने बहुत कोशिश किया,
See,
हमसे बात नहीं बनी।
we have to understand it is not happening overnight, but work is already in progress. First, what we have seen, Samsung and Apple, they are making their uh, products in India.
ओके
This is one thing, assembling and part of it. Now, slowly, another, initially, Apple had started with their outdated models. But once they see the capabilities, the working environment, and the efficiency of the workforce and other thing, so they have started making their latest phone. So their target, which they were having few $100 million, has been changed to billions of dollars per year. So that
ओके
shows there is a capability and ecosystem, but at the same time we have to continuously upgrade our skill of the people who are working there. It is not just one. Suppose we are specialized in auto, that does not mean if we are good in auto that we are good in every other things. No, we'll have to specialize for this particular thing, which is a manufacturing, which is a chemical engineering involved, there is a electronics and other products. So environment, culture, and necessary encouragement. Now, encouragement from government as well as from the state government and from the manufacturer. I'll give you one example. Sometimes vested interest create unrest in that area where these companies are manufacturing, whether
ओके
it is whether it is Apple product or in Chennai or in other places, and those kind of unrest in the name of one region or other created havoc. And if it not curtailed or restricted in a short time or in an immediate future, the companies, whosoever is putting money, they think twice whether it is worth going for it. So it required a encouragement, at the same time strict law and order, so that these companies should not face hurdle by some vested interest or some NGOs which create problem. Like Vedanta has faced problem for their copper smelting plant in Tamil Nadu. Similar effects were made for the Maruti vehicle, and sometime it was created for Foxconn or that
फॉक्सकॉन आल्सो,
Winston,
यस
Winstron, which is making this product. So these are the state subject, law and order. They have to be very, very clear that no politics or any other things should come in way to handle and making suitable environment for developing this infrastructure for the benefit of the public rather than few vested interest.
गिरीश जी, थैंक यू सो मच, एक्चुअली इट इज सो एनलाइटनिंग। काफ़ी लोगों को तो पता ही नहीं है, को ना चिप को ऐसे सोचते हैं कि प्रॉब्ली बहुत ही एलिमेंट्री, बट इट्स रियली वेरी वेरी एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी। और अगर इकोसिस्टम डेवलप करने में ये गवर्नमेंट कामयाब होती है तो मेरे ख्याल से ठीक है, इंडिया इज ऑलरेडी इन द रेस, पीछे है, मगर धीरे धीरे करके वी विल ट्राई टू पिक इट अप। So thank you so much, really. Thank you indeed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you like this wonderful conversation regarding semiconductor chips और इंडिया कैसे उसमें एक स्ट्राइड ले रहा है. बड़ा डिफिकल्ट है ये, इट्स नॉट दैट इजी. और ये गवर्नमेंट चूंकि डिटरमाइंड है तो इसलिए वो एफर्ट पूरा लगा रही है. फॉक्सकॉन अभी दे हैव ऑलरेडी टेकन द लैंड इन गुजरात एक्चुअली एंड दे आर लुकिंग फॉर पार्टनर. मोस्ट प्रोबेबली दे विल गेट इट. कोई इसमें बहुत बड़ा इशू उनके लिए नहीं आने वाला, बिकॉज once the political will is there and strategic objective are set by both the partners, that is Foxconn and Indian government, rest of the things are easy. Other companies, they will also try to manufacture, but again it is a high technology field. I hope we are able to keep up the expectations. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much.